Okay, and we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day. Just depends where you are and when you are listening to this broadcast. My name is Clara Lyons-DeVaughn, and I am the broker owner of Lyonsview Realty. We provide residential, commercial for small businesses and nonprofits and property management services. And you all know about Financial Fridays, and now this is the new segment, which is called Lions View Lifestyle. And, people were asking, what is a Lions View lifestyle? A Lions View lifestyle is when you actualize your dreams into reality, where the possibility of what's available for your life, when your life is in order, when your finances are in order, when your health is in order, and when your spiritual mindset is in order. And in this segment, we're going to be bringing you different authors and other personalities to talk about different things that impact your life wealth. We talk about financial wealth. So in this segment, we'll be talking about your lifestyle wealth. And I have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guest today. I have known her, wow, since college. We were young adults.
We're still young adults.
Yes, we are. One of my first roommates in college at the University of Southern California. So our friendship spans over what, 30? Well, we're
40
giving away,
years, over 40
yeah,
years.
giving away our age here. Yes, a long time. And we still look good. We still look good. And she is not only a phenomenal person, I love her to the moon and back, but she has gotten her doctorate, and Miss Dr. Rhonda Beckwith is a dedicated empowerment coach extraordinaire. She's a licensed clinical professional counselor. She is a speaker, a proud retired Air Force veteran. Thank you for your service. She is the CEO of Boldly Empowered Coaching, a company that provides personal and professional coaching to women who are seeking to bolster their self esteem and master the intricate dance of the work life balance. And I just want to thank you, Miss. I- Well, I call you Rhonda. So, how do you want to be addressed today, Dr. Rhonda J? Dr. Rhonda, how are we going to roll today?
You know what? That is an interesting question. I think we will roll with Dr. Rhonda J today.
Dr. Rhonda J, how are you, my sister? So excited to have you on today.
Thank you very much. I really, truly appreciate this invitation. And of course, you've already talked about our meeting and how long we've had this friendship, sisterhood, etc. And I am very, very excited and thrilled to be right here on your show. I mean, who would have thought it? But that's just how life is. We just have to just roll with every day as it actually comes to us. And so I do
And
appreciate this opportunity of being able to speak with you today.
I am so, so proud of you. I really am. You have written this book, a comprehensive guide to elevating self esteem. But before we jump into that, because we're going to be talking about the book today, I want you to tell people a little bit more about yourself and your journey to this point.
Well, of course, obviously, having lived life, the story is quite long. So I'm going to give you the abbreviated version today. And as Clara said, we started, our college journey a very long time ago. And I was in college doing things, and I don't know if you've been to college, you'll know these things, or, if you've just been like around the neighborhood, et cetera, or in your jobs, just sometimes deviating off your path. And I know that initially I started out at undergrad, psychology. And I will tell you this, and I don't tell very many people this story. So just because we're live and, we're just kind of being a little authentic and transparent today in terms of, we'll get into why I wrote this book, et cetera. But I remember my very first psychology course, and it was about 300 people in this auditorium. And I remember the professor or instructor looking like he was maybe 2 feet tall, because I was way up at the top of the auditorium, and it was just so overwhelming. And I had never been afraid or not of facing adversities or facing situations. And I just felt so consumed. And I remember my first exam when I got an F. I didn't even know how to respond. I didn't even know what to do because I had never been in that situation before. So I'm sure all of you out there probably have faced something that you had never faced before, and you just are stuck in the moment of not knowing what to do or knowing even who to tell. So that's part of my story in terms of, the psychology piece. I tried to run away from it because I said, well, maybe this is not my field. And I spent the night in the computer science room because people, say, oh, computer science is the way to go. And of course, obviously, we see IT is very popular. However, writing programs was not my thing. And then, oh, let's just do a little bit of pre-med. Oh, wait a minute, calculus is not my thing. So, of course, I had to stay in my lane. And here I am today doing this. And even throughout the military, just various jobs still offered me that opportunity of still doing counseling, unlicensed, but at the same time, I knew that eventually I would go on to get my license. And I am licensed, I am legal. And so that's part of my journey in terms
Indeed,
of how I
indeed.
arrived where I am now.
And then one of the things I did forget to mention, you are a phenomenal mom. Yeah.
Yes,
A
I do have a
phenom
beautiful 23-year-old daughter that I love from the moon and back as well. And she is my one and done. And I couldn't have asked God for a better daughter.
Indeed,
And
indeed.
yeah.
She is phenomenal, like her mom, like her mom. So, how did the book come about? Or what
Well,
inspired you to write the book?
interesting. I was writing a different book. There's a couple other books and starting projects and putting them to the side until you feel that urge to continue to write. Well, this book came about because as a therapist, I started to notice that a lot of people that came into counseling didn't really necessarily need a diagnosis, or there was not anything that was diagnosable. But at the same time, for insurance purposes, you do have to provide a diagnosis. And so they needed really a coach. And a lot of people, the backdrop or the foundation of a lot of people stopping in their tracks or being stuck is their self-esteem. So I
Mm,
decided to write something on how do you elevate your self-esteem, because somewhere along the way they were interrupted. Something
mm.
happened to just thwart that self-esteem for them. So therefore that was my impetus for writing this book. How do you elevate it? And then of course, just then, what do you do then? So with this book, it's a guide. It's guiding you on in terms of how to do that. At the end of each chapter, there are reflection questions so that you can reflect back on what it is that you've gleaned from that particular chapter. So
Yeah. So if you were to provide kind of a synopsis of maybe the sections of the book or the major things, like what are you walking someone through in this book?
I'm walking them through the beginning in terms of what self-esteem really is. And
Mm,
so if you were to ask somebody, tell me about your self-esteem, everyone will have a different answer. So this is just kind of a basic line in terms of what self-esteem is and a definition of that. And then how do you look then at your self-worth? How do you look at your confidence? And so walking through this book, you will start to look at, wait a minute, does this define me? Does this reflect on me? Do I need to really look more at my core values? How do I look at me? And then how do I tie that in to then my self-confidence, my self-worth, etc. So each of the chapters will go through those different types of uh, of segments for individuals. And so, for example, there is a chapter on setting authentic goals. What are your goals? And that's chapter number 4. Um, how do you do that? We talk about goals all the time, but what do goals really look like? And are they smart? Are they measurable? Are they achievable? Are they realistic? Are they timely? Because sometimes people will put undue pressure on themselves. And then when they don't reach that particular goal, then they feel bad about themselves. And so, again, that takes another stab at your self esteem and your self worth. So, again, it's just a walk through that, and it's realistic for you. And so it's very, very authentic. And, it's very, very readable for you to actually kind of go through that.
It is a really, really quick read. I want to capture a couple of things from the book. It says on the cover, the book challenges the cultural norm of equating success with perfection, which is, as you know, is one of my issues. I'm a mini perfectionist. And so you can get into that analysis paralysis, or I can get into that analysis paralysis at times. But it
Exactly.
says, by embracing the comprehensive concept of self esteem, it offers a revolutionary journey that delves deep into psychological, emotional, and spiritual levels, offering strategies for lifelong process, starting with the essence of self esteem, breaks down the self worth, confidence, respect, image, and acceptance as key components. The book explores the impact of self esteem on behavior, on relationships, mental health, decision making, considering childhood experiences, accomplishments, comparisons, and the media, which is really something that we're dealing with a lot. And
Mhm.
I want to talk about that a little bit. And it also provides tools to combat negative self talk, foster self acceptance, set authentic goals, and practice self care. So the focus is a long term development and resilience. The importance of social networks, turning adversity into growth is also discussed. Mindfulness, healthy relationships, and recognizing achievements build the self esteem toolkit. The journey is portrayed as continuous, defined by progress, not perfection, through practical actions, reflection, and adaptation. So, the chapter, and this is chapter 7, turning adversity in resilience, which is also the tagline on here,
Exactly. From
authenticity.
authenticity to resilience. Absolutely.
Yeah. Overcoming challenges and building inner strength. So when you're working with, clients about overcoming obstacles, and building that resistance, because sometimes we don't think about our day to day in terms of how we interact with things and people in relationship to our self esteem, in terms of how we feel about ourselves. So when, like you said, you had that situation that it's like, never had this situation before. How do I deal with that? What do you recommend, or how do you walk people through the process of overcoming the obstacles?
Well, first of all, it comes down to, are you recognizing that there's something there? Because oftentimes people don't know what hit them. Like for me, I didn't know what hit me. So going through that whole entire process, what was your experience like? What are you feeling? What are you thinking? And so, of course, with people wanting to have that perfectionistic type of, I need to get this right,
Mm-hmm.
then of course then you're beating yourself up. And so that's where that negative self-talk comes in at, because I mean, think about some of the names that you may have called yourself. And so as the audience out here, think about some of the things you may have said to yourself, just simple things. Oh man, I'm so stupid, I can't get anything right. So when you start to feed that into your system, that's some of the things that you start to believe. So anything that does not go right, you will lean toward that. Because if you think about it, a lot of times it's very easy to gravitate toward the negative. Even think about bad news. Bad news spreads so quickly, it's not even funny. Good news, not so fast. So
Yeah.
again, we get in, that gets into our spirits. And so part of this is walking a person through, what is it that you're thinking? What is it that you're feeling? How then do we combat that? And so as I'm speaking with people, I will go through the process of, okay, tell me something good about you. Let's talk about your strengths. And then as we're talking about those strengths, they begin to see a different picture of themselves. Oh, yes, I am good at this. Or yes, I do feel, oh, yeah. So then that start to then take over that negative self-talk, so that they can actually look at themselves in a different light. So the lens start to change. And so through this book, it's going through those processes and those steps of, how do I look at myself through a more positive lens as opposed to the negative ones.
Yeah. And then how do people use that to develop the muscle of resilience, So if someone
Well,
has, go ahead.
yeah, that has to be built upon. And
Mhm.
so again, people talk about affirmations. And so
Mhm.
affirmations actually also help in terms of building up that self-esteem muscle. The more positive you speak to yourself, the more positive you see yourself. And the more, if people give you a compliment, hold on to that compliment, because sometimes people will get a compliment and do the yeah, but.
Mhm.
Remove yeah, but from the vocabulary. Accept
Mhm.
that compliment, thank you, and keep it moving, and put that in your cachet of, you know what, that was something that someone else noticed about me. So if someone else noticed that about me, it must be something that is true. But if people are doing positive affirmations, saying them is one thing, believing them is another. And so if you are saying them, then please get that into your spirit of actually believing them. And again, the more you get compliments from others on the outside, that must mean that that is that positive aura and energy that is being transferred from inside to outside.
Gotcha. And if you were to say there were some things that you want people to take away after they read, um, read the book, A Comprehensive Guide to Elevating Self-Esteem, from resilience, from authenticity to resilience, what are the things that you want people to take away after reading the book?
After they read this book, I would really hope that that bolsters that self-confidence. It should bolster how they really look at and receive themselves and how they present. Because one of the questions is also, how do you want to show up?
Yeah.
And so hopefully after you have read this book and you have done the work in there, because there is work to be done on those reflective questions, then you will then show up the way that you want to show up. You will show up with confidence. You will show up realizing that I am an imperfect person, but at the same time, I can do really excellent work and it doesn't have to be perfect. And that does not take away from me. That does not diminish me. So you don't have to diminish yourself in any capacity. You can walk into a room and command that attention because that's how you feel on the inside. And then also just realizing then, if I am elevating my self esteem, how then does that translate to even my sisters, my brothers, my other people? How then is that positive energy going in that different direction? But the most important thing is you're able to walk in someplace, chest out, head held high, saying, "I've got this." And if I in
That's
bad
really
grammar, and if in bad grammar, if I don't got this right now, I will get this.
that's really good. I like the part about you having self-esteem also gives other people permission, other people around you to have to bolster their self-esteem. And I'll give you an example. Recently, I went to an event which was kind of semi-formal, um, and I was coming from somewhere else, which was more work related and more grungy work related. So, I was kind of dressed in between, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
had committed to go to this event. I wanted to go, and I didn't have the time to go all the way back because it was far away and redress to go. So I just, went as I was, and I had on I call them my work boots. They're cute, but they're not stilettos. And
All right.
so, and I think because I have, I think, a fairly good self-esteem about myself. I walked in like I had on stilettos, and it
Mm-hmm.
gave people permission not to, treat me any differently because I didn't have on stilettos. Everyone embraced me and I embraced them just like I did. And I think it gives them permission to just kind of chill as well because they know that you're comfortable in your skin and who you're being, so they can be comfortable in their skin as
Mm-hmm.
well. And so that's really, really a valid point, and it's something that I take with me all the time because what you wear, your hair, we're getting into the Crown series. I think you've heard about that, where for a long time as women of color, we couldn't wear our hair a particular way, or we had to
Mm-hmm.
wear it a certain way to be
Very good.
accepted, to get employment. And I don't think people realized of other cultures how damaging that is to women of color, because it implies that you're not good enough if you wear your hair this way or that way. if you wear braids or if you wear
Right.
curls
It's
or
projecting a certain image and or that preconceived notion of something that's
of
not necessarily positive.
right, or that's not accurate, right?
Correct.
It's just not accurate about the person. It's not a reflection of who they truly are and
Right.
what
Or
they
what they're
bring,
capable of. Hmm.
right, or what they're capable of. So I think the Crown Act is a really powerful act that gives back power and self-esteem, having self-esteem got people of color through so many things, but it also, broke down a lot of things as well that, building up. So I think your work is very important.
Right.
I applaud you on it. And I'd like for you to talk a little bit. I'm going to switch gears here a little bit about the process of, taking the book from the idea conception to completion. Like, what was that process like for you? And did it
Well, today, because we are so busy people. I mean, there's so many things that are going on in our world that, it just takes our attention away. So part of that process again was doing some schedule blocking and being able to then dedicate that specific amount of time into writing the book and really not beating oneself up and saying, well, I didn't get this done today, or I this part of this process didn't happen. And so again, there's that perfectionistic piece of it. So again, if you schedule block out whatever those thoughts are that comes down. And one of the things that I was doing initially, and I was told not to do it, but that's a part of that other piece of me as well. I would write a chapter or I write a couple of paragraphs and then I go back and start editing. And so when you're
Mm,
starting to edit those chapters or edit those pieces, what does that do? That robs you of your progress. Write it out, spill it out. If you've ever had any kind of group work or anything like that and you've had to do some brainstorming, just write down everything, spew it all out. You'll edit it later. And so that process then took me from, since I had already started it and had gone through some of this process, it was probably about a good year that this happened. But I mean, and I say good year because that's when I really got serious about wanting to write it. Because you can write notes and write chapters and write bits and pieces here and there throughout the years, and it
right.
doesn't materialize into anything. And what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to write a pamphlet because, now that Amazon is out and you can do all the self-publishing, which made things a lot easier now and etc. I did not want to just rush through something and just put out a pamphlet. I wanted to have something that was meaningful that someone could come back to and even feel confident. I like that. Confident enough to be able to recommend this to their daughters, recommend this to their sons, recommend this to anybody, because then they would have their own book. Because again, like I said, there's a piece in there that they can write in so that they can have their reflection, so they can go back and read this later. So I didn't want it to be their typical self-help book. I wanted it to be self-help, reflection, journal, etc., so that that's something that you would want to go back to and not just say, oh, well, this is just a regular old psychology book or a regular old self-help book. We'll just stick it over here in the corner. No, I really wanted people to want to work in it and really hold on to it and talk about it. And it's a book that people can talk about even in the book circles. So again, it started with schedule blocking and then realizing, let me get this all out on paper and go back and edit it later. So it is a process. And depending on what it is that as you as the audience are looking for, do you want a shorter book? Do you want a longer book? So you have to write until you feel like you've exhausted all of your ideas on that particular topic. And so
Mhm.
it is that process. But I would say if you have children, you have significant others, etc., schedule blocking goes a long way in terms of making those things happen. If you need to go to that quiet space, and I know for me, fortunately, like I said, I have one daughter and she was away at college. So I did have the time to be able to dedicate to actually, writing. And sometimes people don't have that time. So if it's not 4 hours, it's 2 hours, or first thing in the morning, get up, jot down some things, and then when you can, then put it all together. And so 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4, and so on and so on. And next thing you know, your book is written. And I will
Awesome.
tell you that there are a lot of ghostwriters that are out there. So if you need some assistance with that, get down your ideas, get those things formulated, and then, maybe perhaps, lean on getting a ghostwriter if that's something that you would want to do. But just make sure that whomsoever that person is still are capturing the essence of what it is that you want to really say and not
Mm.
taking away from your idea.
Indeed, indeed. Those are really, really valid points for our authors out there, because this section is really for people who have chosen to be authors. And I think there's so much inside that people want to get out, that would be a blessing to other people. And I love your book, one, because it's bite sized. The information is in bite sized chunks so you can get it, grasp it. You hit the points on the head. And then, like you said, you give them an opportunity to reflect on those points. And two, I love your cover. I,
Thank you.
I love your cover. That is just so absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if people can see that, but I love this cover. It just brings joy. And I think your idea about blocking time, scheduling time, not giving up, getting all of your ideas out will help other authors who are in the process of writing their books, or who are even on their second or their third book, because that's a challenge that I think a lot
It
of
is.
authors face. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. I know for myself, I really have to shut everything down, like turn off my phone when I'm writing, and also not, you know, I go back and want to
Of
edit.
course. I mean, that's just a natural thing because what happened when we were, you're in school or you're writing a paper. First thing you want to
Right,
do is you want to
right.
write down something, you want to go back and edit it immediately. But keeping in mind, this is not a paper. This is a process. Starts with the P, but it's a process, not a paper.
For sure, for sure. So how can people get the book?
Well, fortunately, yay, it is actually out there on Amazon right now. And then also they can get it from my website, which is the www.boldlyempoweredcoaching.com. So if you order it from my website, then you can get a signed copy. But if you happen to order it through Amazon, then I embrace that as well and appreciate that support. So yes, and then it's also in ebook form. It's not an Audible, it's just ebook and also paperback.
Awesome. Awesome. Do you have any future projects in the works?
I do. I have started I see, remember I told you we can start some things and we get back to them. So I have decided now to get back to another book that I had started writing. And I'm really hoping to have that book finished. I'm giving myself a SMART goal to have that book finished by the summertime. And
Awesome.
if not sooner, since it's already started, I just need to go back and just make sure that I have captured all the information that I want to capture on. And it's a totally different spin, but
Mhm.
I will just kind of give you a little snippet. And that is, in life, we go through a lot of different things. We make a lot of different decisions, and sometimes those decisions may not be the best decisions for us, but
Mhm.
that does not have to define us. And so
Indeed.
again, leaning on to what it is that you know and realize today is today. Take care of today because tomorrow will take care of itself because yesterday is already gone. So just make a better choice or a better decision if that one wasn't a good one.
Indeed. Indeed. And you are an awesome, awesome therapist, counselor, friend. But if someone wanted to professionally seek out your services, what would be the best way for them to do that?
The best way would be to, I guess I could have put my phone number down there. They can actually call me, and or if they emailed me through through my website, they can leave their information there, and then that's where I do the coaching. But if they wanted the professional counseling, I'm also on Psychology Today as well in the state
Awesome.
of Maryland.
Awesome. This has been a really, really wonderful time. Is there anything else about the book that you would like to share or about yourself?
Well, the thing that I would say about myself is that I really truly believe that I am an authentic person. And there's not anything that I've written in this book that I probably have not experienced to some degree. And just because you get one setback does not mean that that's where you stay. If you get a setback, you sit back and then you reset and say, okay, how can I do something different? Because for me, I had a setback and I was stuck for a moment. And that's what actually, I will just kind of put this out there. That's what actually caused me to join the military. I was only going to stay there for 4 years, but 4 years turned into 26. And I'm really glad that I had that experience because that's something that cannot be taken away from me. And I really truly enjoyed it to the utmost. So again, if you see that something's not going well in one direction, then make a different choice. And then you can always come back to whatever was your original decision once you have settled down and just reset yourself. So don't let one bad mistake or bad thing really kind of define you or keep you stuck in that space. And then if
That
you're
is,
feeling like you are, if you need someone to talk to, then please, by all means, talk to someone. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I know that mental health was a negative stigma for a very, very long time. And it was just so interesting how, if you told someone that you were a therapist or you were seeing a therapist, the looks that you probably received or not wanting to tell someone that. But now it is very much encouraged. And COVID was a terrible thing that happened, but at the same time it was a blessing. So again, looking at pros and cons of different things that go on in life. And so with COVID, that elevated then, the need for, people getting more mental health services. And
mhm.
so because we need community, we need networking, we need people, that's how we thrive and that's how we grow. And so now if you do need to have anything to do with mental health services, etc., please feel free to reach out somewhere. Don't sit in silence and suffer. There's no reason for that.
Yeah. I I was sharing with someone else if sane people, um, people who I think a lot of people associate mental health with being, insane, like there's something wrong
Mm-hmm.
with, and there are some people that there's something wrong with
Oh,
them. And
absolutely. There are some challenges there. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. And those people don't really know that they're, off the rocker. And I think when people think mental health, they think that extreme. But I think as a sane person, just realizing that there's something that you would like to improve on in your life, it doesn't necessarily have to be wrong. It just may be something that you want to improve on, and talking with someone can assist you on improving the way you interact with other
Right.
people and the way you interact with yourself, how you love yourself and
Right.
how you interact and love other people, is another area or another way to for people to think about having good mental health. It's like something doesn't necessarily have to be wrong, but it could be better, right?
Yeah.
So there's this whole,
Opportunities to improve.
yeah,
And or
dem-
get it, or not necessarily even improve, but maybe just wanting some clarity on different things, which is
yeah.
the reason why I started getting more into the coaching side. So I can still do therapy, but if people need a coach, then
Mhm.
that's what the coaching piece of that is for, so that they can get clarity and or, you know, if they're having challenges with being grounded, then
Mhm.
that's another reason for getting a coach as well, because then you get maybe then redirected into what it is that you really want to do.
Indeed, indeed. That's good. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. I so appreciate you. I think you are the bomb.com. And I
Thank
am
you.
excited about your book. You are on the Amazon bestseller list with this book already. It is a phenomenal, phenomenal book. I encourage everyone to go to Dr. Rhonda J's website and get the book so she can autograph it for you. If you can't do that, go to Amazon.com, get the book. She's also on Facebook every morning. Her bright, beautiful smile. She's giving words of encouragement to everyone. So check her out there as well. I love you, sister. I
I love you
appreciate
as well.
you. And I'm excited about all of the lives that your book is going to touch, all of the people that it is going to empower, and all of the people. The world is just going to be a better place because you decided to write this book, and people decided to buy it, read it, and if they need either therapy or coaching, that they decided to reach out to you and get
I am
what
available. Yes,
to get what they need to be the best them that they can be. So I want to
absolutely.
thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank you. Yes, and I
thank you
want to
as
thank
well. And I appreciate everyone out there as well. And so, again, I look forward to working with you, seeing you, talking to you, etc.
indeed, indeed. So on the Financial Fridays portion is scheduled on Fridays at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that piece is where you can get resources, information on tips on how to live your best life. But for everyone who is looking to have a Lions View lifestyle, where you actualize your dreams into reality, where that possibility of what's available when your life is in order, when your finances are in order, your health is in order, and your spiritual mindset are in order, help you live your best life. So keep living your best life, and we'll see you on the next broadcast. Bye. Thanks.
Goodbye.
Love you.